Hi, welcome to this tutorial on how to add a drop-down list to Google Sheets. Adding drop-downs is a great way to make your data more organized and user-friendly. In this lesson, I'm going to take you through the steps of adding a drop-down list to your Google Sheet. And by doing this, I'm going to use the examples you are seeing on your screen. And the idea here is to determine if each of the names they have worked or not, and in turn determine whether they deserve to get paid or not. So I'm going to start off with two ways we can do this. First would be, I'll say more complicated. It's fairly simple, but I'll start with what I'll say it's more complicated than the second I'm going to show you later. So the first step is to click data, move to data validation, and add a row. Yeah, so as you can see, it's simple, not even hard. And you can input the options. So pending, done, or you can use completed based on what you want to be shown. So when you move back here, you see we have pending, we have done. Great. So the second, so I'm going to remove this and show you the second status, the second step, which is fairly simple and straightforward. So that's going to insert and selecting dropdown. So just like the other one, you see dropdown, add the options pending, and this time I'm going to use completed. So when I click done and I move here, I have pending, I have done, right? And when I select the cell and I click the back arrow, I can just clear the data over there, leaving the drop down. So if I want the drop down to be applicable to all the names you are seeing, I can just use the quick fill or drop down or move to this part, the pane on the right, and then add the range, which is this. So yeah, so other things you can also do is to give colors based on the input. So in this case, I'm going to show you an example. So if it's pending, I can decide to give it yellow as the color. If it's completed, I can decide to give it green. So when I select done and I come back here and I select pending, I find this, select completed is green back here. Yeah, so you understand what I'm saying. And there should be other options you can explore. I think when you select advanced, you can decide to reject an input if it's not in the list. So in this case, when I start to type something different, it should give me a warning. So show a warning if I want that. When I come back here and I do this, it gives a warning as you can see over here. Or I can decide to just reject the input. That will be moving to reject and click done. So in this case, if it's not, then I do that. It should either try to correct it or reject the input. Right. In this case, it's recognizing what I need. So as you know, I just type this, yeah. So it's rejecting the input. Right, let's try to explore other advanced options. So in this case, we are seeing the display types. What we are using right now is a chip. Using an arrow also give a different design to the options. So when I select arrow, you can see you don't have the chip-like design again. The colors fill the entire cell. If it's plain text, you just have it this way, right? So based on what you want to show. In this case, I prefer the chip, and let's take the chip for the purpose of this training. All right, so just as a bonus, it's not really part of the scope, but if you want to make this automated and give um, um, a function to determine whether they are paid or not, basically to do that, we can just add an if clause to say if this is pending, right? So if this is equal to pending, then we can decide to halt payment or just type do not pay yet or not yet based on what you want to show. And if the same shows completed, and I hope I've spelled this right, it should return probably process pay, process payment. else it should just return an empty string. And so as you can see, if it's pending, do not pay. Let's try completed. If it's completed, process payment. Yeah. So if it's more like building the data entry for your team members, you can simply work around this to make it easy and more user friendly for them. Let's try dragging this down to see if we have the same effects. So yeah, pending, right? So thank you for this, and I'll be back with more videos on extra features.